All right, Shalom. We'll start first by giving all praises and glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai. Call Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders in New York, a great millstone who rule well, and greeting salutations and blessings unto the elect, those that will get salvation in the coming destruction. Shalom. Um, little quick lesson, of course, updates on World War III. It says Trump-Putin meeting in Vietnam, highly likely, says the Kremlin, right? Kremlin is basically the Russian media, I believe, is what they call it. But anyway, the point being is that this is just another situation set up so they can discuss war, whether they understand that that's what this meeting is about or not. But as you can see, World War III is imminent. Imminent meaning it's gonna happen regardless. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You know, some people say fate or destiny. Well, all of that's true. You know, World War III must happen in this world, in this lifetime. It's not going to be 20 years from now. It's not going to be, 60 years, and two generations later. It's going to happen in this life. Because when we examine the prophecies, matter of fact, this is just made this a longer lesson. But let me hit this because this is important. Yeah, 2nd Ezra chapter 9. I'll start verse 1. It says, and he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. So how do you measure the time diligently? How do you closely measure the time that we're living in? Right? It says, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And this is another prophecy that has to come to pass for the Lord to show back up here and visit the world which he made. Yahweh's son, Yahushai, has to come back and visit this place for Yahweh. And that's the purpose, that we measure the time. Yep, and then we read it. It says, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Yeah, and so that's the point. You see his prophecies coming true. This is just another sign of that prophecy. So let me go into this real quick. This is Luke chapter 14. And let me see. Yeah. Yep, 31. Luke 14 and 31. It says, or what king, and these are the kings that you're looking at of the earth, basically. This is the U.S. President Donald Trump meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the G20 summit in Hamburg, Germany, July 7th, 2017. Right? It says, and these are the top two major players that will be in World War III. China will be involved. We see North Korea's pushing the envelope with that. We know Iran is involved. That whole Mediterranean is going to be the battleground, right? It says, I get a couple of those even. It says, Luke 14:31, or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000. Right? So when you're ready for war, you got to sit down and consider it. So that's what they're talking about. Regardless of what the actual conversation's about, this is the spiritual conversation that these men are starting to have upon earth. These nations are having across the world. Because whether they know it, the things that'll be said in these meetings will imminently lead to World War III. And there's nothing that you can do to stop it, slow it down. It's on the Most High schedule. And that's how we know we have a sure word of prophecy. Right? It says, or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage and desireth conditions of peace. Yeah, that's what Obama was doing. But now You let a devil like Donald Trump in there, and he's gonna push the envelope, you know. Because if he can't keep taking the low on these deals, you know. So he's got to push it and back himself up with his military. Americans pride themselves on being the greatest military in the world. Well, he's got to stop talking the talk and start walking the walk. And that's going to be his hook to make America great again. Well, we're going to see what happens. Little does he know, America loses World War III. America is destroyed in World War III. Right? So let me hit a few other scripts. I had them, you see here. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to the major prophecy back in the book of Daniel. Yep. And I'm going to get, see which one I want to get to. I think, yep, bear with me 1 second. This is impromptu. I just, saw the article I seen yesterday and just pulled it up. So just cut the camera on and start going, right? Here's the image. It's in the 2nd chapter. Yeah, here we go. We're going to start at, this is Daniel chapter 2. Yeah, this is chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse, I'll start at 31 just to paint the big picture. It says, matter of fact, 30, it says, as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart, that we will know the mind of the Most High God, that he gave this prophecy to the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, and particularly this one into Daniel. It says that in this time, when these prophecies come to pass, we can measure the time diligently, and we can tell what time we're living in. This is World War III, and when the dream comes that Nebuchadnezzar had, and Daniel breaks it down, the end of the image that he's going to depict in this dream is talking about this time period now, or this kingdom of the ancient Roman and modern day Babylon Roman Empire now. And I say Babylon because that was one of the kingdoms, but this last part of America here being the rebirth, the renaissance of the Roman Empire. Right? It says, verse 31, it says, thou, O king, sawest, and behold, the great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, which was the Babylonians. It says the breast and his arms of silver, which was the Persians and the Medes. It says his belly and his thighs of brass, which was the Greek Empire. It says, and his legs of iron, and his feet and his feet part iron and part of clay. Now that's the main part of this. The part iron and part of clay. That's talking about the iron part was the Roman Empire back in when the Lord Yahushua walked the earth back then. Then they had the period of 1,000 years, the Dark Ages. Then the rebirth during the Renaissance around 1400s, right? And so that's this part here. That part clay is this rebirth of the Roman Empire, which is America, which I'm gonna get to it. What it says, thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, and smote the image upon his feet that were iron and clay, and break them into pieces. And that's what we're doing. That's what the Lord is gonna do. Yahushua is gonna do. He's gonna completely break this down. That's that stone, that cornerstone, that chief cornerstone, right? It says, let me see. Yeah, it says, then the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together and became like the chaff. That's Yahushua putting all the crowns of all the kings of the earth upon his head, and he wearing all the crowns. You know, there won't be another kingdom, because all of these were kingdoms that the Israelites were taken captive under, from the Babylonians to the Persians and the Medes, the Babylonians and the Syrians, I'll say, the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks, and then the Romans. And then the Renaissance rebirth of the Romans here in modern day America now, and who they that run the earth today. And he's gonna take all their power and all their kingdom and break it down, and then put them on his head. And then he's gonna rule the world as the king of righteousness, and a king of peace. Anyway, it says let me see, right here it says and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, and no place was found for them. Yet it won't be no other kingdom ruling the earth again, only the Israelites after this one. It said, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Yeah, and that's going to be the Israelites under Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and King David. All the way down. The elect, 144,000, all the way down. It says, let me jump around a little bit. Yeah, basically that's talking about America. Let me see. Get a couple others real quick. Let me see what I got here. Bear with me 1 second. It's just flowing in the spirit right now. Yeah, let me see here. Where did I want? Go back and look real quick. Where did I want that from? Yep. It says, I'm going to start at Jeremiah 58, 51 and 1. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that raise up. Because America is also known as Babylon, the place of confusion, the virgin daughter, the untouched offspring of Babylon, which when you go to the word Babylon, it goes back to the Hebrew word babal, which means confusion. And if you look at America, it contradicts everything. The right way of natural order is written in the Bible, the way that Yahweh, the creator, Yahweh Hashem, the creators, set it up for man upon the earth to live, starting with his people, his chosen people, the Israelites. Well, America contradicts everything that goes with that. Everything in America contradicts, believing in you can freedom of religion, right? Well, we're not supposed to believe in religion, and you're supposed to only worship the Most High God, Yahweh, through his son. So that's it. Just, and you go into the dietary laws is off. It's just off every sexual perverseness, just everything. This place is just a wicked ass place, because this wicked ass Edomite is running the earth right now, and he's out of control. He's literally spiraling out of control right now. And when you look at these kings on the earth, they have to settle up for what the Most High God is doing. Whether they understand it or not. But these are the two major players that will make this war really go down, right? Anyway, it says, I will raise thee up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, and a destroying wind. That's what he's going to do, a destroying wind. And will send unto Babylon fanners, and they shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble, they shall be against her round about. Yeah, all the nations are going to round up and destroy America. And that's what I was showing you, the image of all these world leaders right here. They're all going to turn on. Even the allies of America right now, like NATO, and they're all, and even some of the European Union nations, they're in alliance with America. They're all going to turn and destroy America. So let me see here. Where do I want to go next? Let me see. Yeah, let me jump down to verse 9. Jeremiah 51 and 9 says, matter of fact, verse 7. Matter of fact, verse 6. Goodness. Yeah. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. Yeah, that was talking about ancient Babylon, but it was also a prophecy of modern day Babylon today, right? It says, be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, and made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And I'm going to jump over real quick, and then I'll come back to the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter. I think is the one I really want. Let me see here. Where we at? Hold me 1 second. Yep. I can get it. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, let me before that. Yeah. I'm gonna start at verse verse 18. Revelation 18, verse 2, it says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is becoming the habitation of devils, of desert animals. It says, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah, because America, being a consuming nation, have bought all the bullshit, from these other countries that they produce, just to keep this country going. Well, in this meeting over here, this is what they're doing and what they're talking about. They're trying to find ways to make it beneficial for everybody, but soon enough, they're going to realize that the only answer to this whole situation is to destroy America. And Donald Trump is truly forwarding that agenda. Call halal Yahweh Shem Yahshua, because he's the one that's putting these people, he, the Most High, ruleth in the kingdom of men, right? It says, to keep reading, I'm going to just keep reading. It says, because the only way that you Israelites will get out of this is through death by pain, or if you're of the elect, you get out in a chariot. And this is going to touch on it, then I'll keep it going. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. That plague is an ICBM nuclear missiles that will destroy America. And that's how it become a desolate place of every hateful bird and foul spirit and the habitation of devils. That's how that's going to be. And those devils are those animals. It's not talking about the Edomites going to dwell here. It's talking about those animals. And so, but it has to be destroyed completely for that to happen upon the earth. And that only can happen through these ICBM nuclear missiles that these other countries are going to shoot upon it. This is what the sentiment is all about, because Russia's shooting off, North Korea's shooting off, China's shooting off, Iran and them. Everybody's developing their armory so they can take down America. Whether they understand that or not, that's going to be the end game. But they're developing it because they know America has been going around the earth bullying everybody, taking resources and destroying countries, claiming that it's a war on terror, when America's been the one that's running around the place terrorizing. It's gotten even to a point where America's using the HARP to bring natural disaster to these places. Then they'll rush in with their aid and truly strip the place. And the world is starting to see it and recognize it. And they're tired of America's SHIT. So they're building, like, I got to go to that too. Then I'm not going to go too much further with it, but I'm going to go to that before we close out, to the book of Amos. Let me put a finger on it. Is that Amos? Or is that the book of Salakia? That's not the book. It's Joel. The book of Joel is what I really wanted. Yeah, I'm getting to that. Anyway, it says, For her sins have reached, this is back in Revelation 18, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. She did all this hate and killing and negativity and bad and perpetual sin upon the earth and bloodshed. Well, that'll be rewarded back to you. Right? It says, and I'm saying her, but it's really the Edomites that ran it from the hub of the United States of America. Right? It says, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. Because that's what she's pushed out upon the earth. Her speaking of America and those that run America, whether it's those fake Jews that's in the land of Israel, or that really run the world, the Illuminati, those top-notch elite, or just you regular perpetual devils that's here in America pushing wickedness through your media and through your entertainment systems, Hollywood and music and whatever else. The Most High is watching all of this. Your police system, your government, the Most High is watching all this, and you gotta pay for that. Especially because you touched the apple of his eye, his children, the Hebrew Israelites. All of the lost 12 tribes. Anyway, it says, it says, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. You people think nothing can touch America, but guess what? These missiles is going to touch America. It says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire from ICBM nuclear missiles. It says, for strong is the Lord Yahweh who judgeth her. Verse 9, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, because they know that once that happens, they just lost their commerce, their money. They just took, if you're a drug dealer, and your favorite crackhead come around, you like, oh yeah, I'm about to get paid. Well, that's America. America's that crackhead that was buying from whoever on the earth, doing whatever by any means to get the money for whatever they wanted. And as a drug dealer, you're just happy to get it. Well, that crackhead just died when America gets destroyed. That's what's about to happen. Verse 10, it says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Yep, it said, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise any more. Yep. I'm going to jump down to verse 16. Matter of fact, 15. The merchants, because they're trying to figure out a business deal that it could be beneficial for everybody, but Trump is the ultimate businessman, right? The cutthroat businessman. So if he's not getting the deal he wants, or if he double cross somebody in this deal, however it plays out, the other country's gonna destroy America, and that's in the prophecy, right? It says, we're reading it. It says, jump up to 15. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Yeah, America was built up as this great place, right? It says, for in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught. All of that wonderful stuff, the Statue of Liberty, the Great Lakes, the rivers, the Mount Rushmore, everything that you hear about America that makes America wonderful, in Sin City, Las Vegas, everything that you hear about America that was so wonderful and great will be destroyed in less than an hour. Right? It says, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all his company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off. Because a lot of the trade in the world is done by sea. Some is done by plane, but majority of it is done by sea. The major stuff is done by sea, and big oil tankers and all, whether it's oil, whether it's shipping electronics and goods. Those shipping containers, they come across the water down to the docks. They trucks will throw them on the back and put them right over there to the rail yard, and the rail yard will throw them on the railroad, and they'll send them across the country that way, back onto a truck and into the store nearest you, as they're broken down in the warehouses and shipped to your individual places. Well, that's how the commerce works in this country. Well, all that's about the end. America ain't making its payments over $1 trillion, over how much is it? It's like over 20 trillion, a historic number now in debt. Yeah, this place is done. It says, it says, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they shall cast dust on their heads and cry, and where'd it go? And cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, the great city, wherein we were made rich, all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For 1 hour she is made desolate. Only thing that can destroy that fast is a burning fire, thermonuclear fire from ICBM missiles. About 30 minutes to get over here from their destinations, from their where they leave from, and to reach their destination here in America to destroy. All right, so let me go to back to Jeremiah. Let me see. Yep, I'm gonna go back up to verse 8. This is Jeremiah 51:8. Matter of fact, let me see something 50 right quick. Yep, let me hit this right quick. Jeremiah 50:46. It says let me see. Yeah, 46. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. Yeah, like we just read, all the nations gonna cry about it when America gets destroyed. This is gonna be a world event that everybody's gonna feel it with earthquake, because America's being destroyed so hard, as well as spiritually they're all gonna feel it, that this devil has been destroyed off the planet, and that the great whore harlot that ride the back of the beast, America, is being destroyed. And that beast is NATO and the EU and and that whole power structure. The whole Edomite establishment, as far as their church, their money, their military. That's that beast. Anyway, it says verse 9, this is Jeremiah 51 and verse 8. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, meaning forget her, and let us go every one to his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. This is echoing what we read in Revelation, the 18th chapter. So you Christians can't say that the Old Testament is done away with, when there's prophecy that still hasn't passed yet. That's from the Old Testament, and even in the New Testament, the book of Revelation, that hasn't passed yet. Right? It says, matter of fact, verse 11, it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields, and those arrows are missiles, man. Modern day arrows are missiles. The prophets back then, they didn't know what a big missile and a missile silo was, so they described it the best way they could, and the best way they could at that time was an arrow. It said, make bright the arrows. That's why all the talk in World War III, whether these guys are talking about it or not, the main thing that their main threat that they have is missiles. Whether it's the Moab, mother of all bombs. I forgot the other technical name for it, the MOAB. Those bombs and other different bombs, Satan 2, all these different bombs that these countries are coming up with, all of these are set up for war. America's not going to be the only place destroyed. Some other parts of the world will be destroyed also, but America will be completely wiped off the planet, which was the hub of these Edomites and their rulership structure. So once this place is gone, it's a wrap. for this Edomite, the so-called white man, right? It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for this device is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Yep. Now I'm going to jump over to Joel, the 3rd chapter, and I'm going to close out. It says, Joel 3, and I'm going to jump straight down to 9. Yep. No matter of fact, verse 2, it says, verse 2 says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat, which is the Most High God's judgment. Shaphat meaning a judge, the Most High judges. Shaphat means judgment, and Yahweh is the Most High God, right? It says, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, for the Israelites, man. That's when he going to put us back on top. Because he's going to destroy all these other countries, make them weak, and let us rise up and give us spiritual power to rule the earth in righteousness. And cleanse the earth and then rule it in righteousness, right? It says, I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yeah, they've destroyed our people completely. And they went against the laws of the Most High God doing those things. It says we ain't supposed to be no harlots or no boy harlots. Anyway, jumping down to the point. Verse 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords. And that's what these other agricultural nations have done. They've beaten their plowshares, the agricultural tools the money that they're spending on agriculture and the food for their nations, such as North Korea. Those people are starving over there. They're not eating deliciously because they're too busy spending their money toward their military. They built their military up to a point to where they can defend themselves. They're tired of being bullied by people like America, right? It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak sound strong. When they get that missile, now they're saying they're strong. Did the video the other day about Kim Jong-un with his missiles out there. Yeah, they're ready. He just gonna just get his target right, trying to get his power, how much he need right. And it's even, for him, it may not be thermonuclear. It may actually just be the EMP, electromagnetic pulse. But that's going to be, if that hits America, that's going to be a major detriment to America. That sets up America to be completely destroyed from the inside. And then you can just throw the missiles on it and destroy it on the outside. And that's what it's looking like. Anyway, it says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. And that's when the angels going to show up to the battle also. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Yep. I'm going to jump to, I'm going to keep reading. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Yeah, this is the perfect time for the Most High to do this. The earth is at complete wickedness. The level of wickedness is reaching to the heavens. This devil's getting out of control. He's got an agenda with his RFID mark of the beast chip that he's trying to push and implement on the world, where he can get complete control of the world. The wickedness has reached an all-time high. There's transgenders, and even whether it's in Germany has to recognize the third gender. And even though there's only supposed to be a man and a woman on the planet, a male and female on the planet, they have to recognize transgender on the planet. And, and LGBTQ XYZ, they have to recognize that. That's being perpetuated throughout the earth. That's That's an abomination unto the Lord. You know, whether it be there's GMO food, there's nothing. People are being destroyed. It's just complete chaos and wickedness upon the planet. You know, so this is the perfect time that the nations are there's uproars all over the earth on nations. There's natural disasters hitting everywhere. There's people randomly just murdering and killing, just coming out there, just death angels being sent out into the people to mow down crowds with cars, to spray guns and on crowds and drop bombs and leave proximity bombs in major cities, destroying people. Like, this is the perfect time for everybody to be all crazy. There's civil war with Antifa in America. There's all kinds of stuff going on. That this is the perfect time that the Most High can judge everybody at one moment. You know, and he's about to do that in one time period. He ain't got to wait to judge this nation 100 years later, 1,000 years later. He going to judge the whole earth in this one time. And that's what the scripture just said. It said, verse 13 again, says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down, for the press is full, the fat overflow, for the wickedness is great. We're just saying the wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, Jehoshaphat, for the day of the Lord is near to the valley of decision. Yep. And that's what's going to happen, man. He's going to decide what shall be unto all these people on the earth, man. The 2/3 of his own chosen people will reach a similar fate to the Edomites and the other nations, man. But mostly those other nations are going to be put in chains and come to serve us. The 2/3 will be killed off the planet this go around. They'll know it after death by pain. But his 144,000, 1/3, his elect will reign, and they'll get salvation out of this by the skin of their teeth, through faith and by their works. And they'll barely make it out, but they will become the new governing body of the world. You know, under Yahweh Shai, King David, all the way on down. So yeah, this is just one of those things that there's another step in towards World War III. You know, so I would say it again: what king sitteth not down first to declare he have enough to go to war with the other nation? Or with the other nations. And this is what this is. This is another time that they keep sitting down, or they're going to try to agree upon some peace. But we know in the prophecy, like I just read, that it has to be war. And there's a host of other scriptures that go with World War III and missiles and all of that. But I just want to hit those real quick. So I'm going to say, Call Halal Yahweh Hashem Al Shai, the water Yahweh Hashem Al Shai, for sharing the spirit with me, you know. And with you brothers out there, that people that tune in. So with that, I want to say, Call Allah Yahweh Hashem Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders in Great Millstone in New York who rule well. And greetings, salutations, and blessings to the elect that rule and that will see salvation. I mean, Salakia. And double honor to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the elect that will receive salvation. Shalom.